Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the 10 things that I stopped buying to save more money and build my investment. You see, money is a magic. It's a very simple math equation, and how much you earn minus what you spend equals to what you can save and what you can use for investment. I realized that I was throwing money away on stuff that I wasn't adding any value to my life. And actually, some of the stuff that I put my money in are actually weighing me down. Something to note that is the thing that you're purchasing is not necessarily translating into your wealth. And some of them are actually liabilities, and that will drain us down. And cutting out those things that didn't save me money, it actually made my life better. So let's jump right into it. Number one, new car. Okay, here's the biggie. Consistently upgrading to a new car. Car losses its value like crazy, and they're terrible investments. The second you drive the new car to your home, and you lose a big chunk of the price already, and it keeps depreciating every single year. I've been owning my vehicle for the past 3 years, and it's an EV, and I love it. And as long as it's working, I will keep it as long as possible. And on top of that, I get free charging from my work, so that saves me around $2,000 in a year just in gas alone. Plus, the maintenance cost was way lower than a gas car. So when you decide on purchasing a new vehicle, make sure you're thinking very hard through all those scenarios and what the actual cost that you're paying. And if you're paying on top of a loan, and that's really a liability, and make sure that you really think through it. And which leads to my second point to avoid buying, which is liabilities. Let's take a moment to understand the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets put your money towards your net worth, and liability and take it out. A house purchase, for example, it's both assets and liability depending on your mortgage and how you look at it. So where I live, for example, buying a house will cost double or even triple of the amount I'm paying on the rent. So mathematically, it really doesn't make sense for me to purchase a house. However, when I'm renting, I'm actually saved myself $6,000 extra every single month by renting a place. And that's the money where I can put it towards investment and let the money grow. So if I were to buy, that $6,000 extra cash will become a liability that turns toward my monthly mortgage payment. It becomes a liability that I owe to the bank. This applies to other things too. Anything that you bought on a credit card, a large purchase that requires a lot of maintenance and storage, and those are all becomes your liabilities because they take your time, your energy, and your money. And when you purchase something, if you have to take a loan for it, it's a liability until you fully paid it off. So my rule for myself now is to only buy things if I can pay in cash, so that I'm not paying any invisible cost of interest. And now let's talk about another type of invisible cost, which is high expense ratio investment funds. So here's a sneaky way how your money can disappear from your account without you even noticing. High expense ratio investment funds. So mutual funds or ETFs charge a percentage every single year just to hold on your money and making investment. It depends on the fund, and the expense ratio will look different. It can range anywhere from 0.1% to the upward of 2 to 3% for some high expense ratio funds. It might sound very small, but I will give you an example to show you how it adds up over time. So let's say you invested this $10,000 with a 7% expected annual return for the next 20 years in these two types of funds. Fund 1 that charges 1.5% expense ratio, which means your annualized return will become 5.5% instead of the 7%. So you will end up with about $29,000. However, with a fund that charges 0.5% expense ratio, you will end up with $35,000. So that's a $6,000 difference. And you might wonder, where did the money go? That $6,000 went to the fee of the fund management. So that's about 20% in terms of your total return that you earned less because you paid a higher expense ratio for your fund. So choose a low-cost investment fund whenever it's possible. So when talk about investments, number 4 is investing in things that I don't understand. I used to think I was financial genius and figuring out the investments that everybody was missing out. But after I lost a lot of money, I started learning that I wasn't as smart as I was thinking. The real smart investors weren't touching those things either. Either they don't understand those investments or they did their own work to realize that they are really bad investments. Now I'm all about doing your own research. Before I put any investment in a company, I study the company like crazy. I build my own financial models to figure out what is its true worth and what is its intrinsic value and the future growth looks like. I learned everything I could about their business, their competition, the market they're in, and what the market trends are looks like in the next couple years. It takes a lot of time, but it protects my hard-earned money. So don't fall for those hypes. If something sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. Do your own homework before making any investment decisions. Now, when talk about doing your own homework and your own education and reading books like this is definitely super, super helpful. However, throughout the course of the years, I started to realize holding on to physical books is going to be a lot of work when I was moving, and it's also not very convenient for me to make notes. And now I switched everything to my reliable Kindle for all my digital notes taking, and I borrow books from the library if I need physical copy of it, and I leverage the local library's free app called Libby. So all those free resources that you can leverage and you can save money on physical books. So next up, technology updates. When talk about technology, I haven't updated my Kindle for almost 10 years since I owned the first version of Kindle, and for my phone, I used it for the past 5 years before I had to switch to a new phone because the battery was terrible. It wasn't lasting a whole day. So those are the only scenario where I started to make technology upgrades. So companies want to convince you why you need the latest version of their releases, but the truth is many product release nowadays are just incremental updates and brings very minimal efficiency improvement or any happiness or joy to our life. But because it's very important for the company to continue to grow their revenue, and they will make it more appealing to us for the next new generation of the technology update, as a consumer, we have to think for ourselves what is the best return on investment when we're putting our hard-earned money down. So don't feel the rush. You have to make every single technology updates when it's out there, and take your time and evaluate and thinking if there's any additional value this upgrade will bring to my life. Next up, full priced item. When you walk into a mall or any of the retail store, when you make a purchase, that typically means 40 to 60% profit margin goes to the retailer. That's why when I walk into a store and look at the full price tag, the first question I always ask myself is, how can I get this for cheaper? So my go-tos are the second-hand market, for example, McCurry, ThredUp, The RealReal. They have so much items that's barely used and sold at 50% or even 20-30% of its retail price, which is pretty crazy. Even your local consignment stores, those thrift stores, you can find a lot of high quality stuff at a fraction of the cost. And if I purchase something online, I always take another minute to look up if there's coupons or promo code that goes on. It only takes you a minute and it can save you a lot of money down the road. I know it sounds like it takes a lot of effort and takes some patience for you instead of just grabbing something whenever it's in front of you, but once it becomes habitual to you, this habit will save you a huge amount over the years throughout compounding. And plus, a lot of times when you choose to buy something from someone who already own it, instead of buying it new, you are actually making an effort to build a more sustainable lifestyle. So you're not only save your money, but you also reduce the waste, and it likely ended up with the stuff you love more in the long run. Number 9, fast fashion items. I used to fall into the trap of buying cheap and trendy clothes, but those $10 dresses or t-shirts, and they actually add up and they fall apart after a few washes, and even worse, The fast fashion industry is a huge polluter. That's why I made a change. Now, instead of buying a full closet of junk and invested in very few but higher quality pieces, those classic style items that made with great materials is gonna last you for years, and you will feel way better in those high quality material clothing than those flimsy fast fashion clothes items. And for the best part is my closet stays super organized since then, and I don't have to knock around, and I don't have the guilt of contributing to a wasteful industry. Number 10, unhealthy food and processed food. You know that feeling after you had a junk food binge and your body doesn't feel great and you feel bloated, and on top of that, you waste your money on those processed and unhealthy food. I used to indulge myself in those sugary snacks, cake and sweet and you name it, and it adds up really fast and definitely doesn't add up to your health, which is why I cut out all those processed food, unhealthy food. So I started switching to a more plant-based and putting a lot of greens and veggies into my daily diet. It doesn't sound easy at first, but the result is definitely amazing. I feel more energized and my body feels more light, and on top of that, I feel more lean just because I'm not eating those stuff that my body cannot actually process. Not only that I saved myself a lot of money compared to eating out or buying those pre-made stuff, but I have so much more energy and I feel way better in general. So try to avoid those processed and unhealthy food, and they're not only cost you money, but they also make you feel worse in the long run. So take control of what I purchase, what I eat was a huge step towards taking control of my personal finances. To truly master this money game, you need a strategy. I've been doing budgeting on a Google Sheet for the past 3 years to keep an eye out on my personal finance. So it helped me save a ridiculous amount of money over the past 3 years. And it helps me save a huge portion of my income. I'll drop a link down below so you can grab a free download. And if you want to see how exactly I used it, click on this screen for my walkthrough video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe before you go. I'll see you next time. Bye.